I'm Dave Simmons, the local thatcher to Chiddock for the last 50 years, and I grow my own thatching reeds to furnish the roofs in the local area. We have always farmed in a traditional way because the end product that we're trying to grow is thatching reed. We don't use a lot of chemicals or fertilizers, and consequently the wildlife and the hedges and the margins all benefit, in my mind, from that. This land at Doghouse was farmed traditionally. It's always been arable, and it's always been nearly always a plough-based cultivations, and right out to the hedge, right up to the fence. Every last square inch of field was tried to make available. And the other thing that was very noticeable to me when I started cultivating, the soil had absolutely no structure, with just one pass with a machine, and it was down to talcum powder with no fibre, no nothing in it. So I knew that it's going to need a lot of building up. The first thing I did to it was there's 3 and 6 and 9 metre margins around every field now. Some are wild meadow, some are nectar pollen, and that was on the National Trust suggestion that we tried to make corridors for wildlife. The land was just bare land. It's dirt, it's not soil, and it's going to take a year or two to turn it back into soil. The previous people did nothing wrong, they just did it as everybody across the country is doing. You know, they ploughed it, cultivated it, sprayed it to death, fertilised it to death, and took a maximum crop to feed as many people as they could per acre. I am moving to a no-till for the whole 170 acres I farm. I mean, the National Trust land is only just a small percentage of that. And there's lots of reasons. The soil is running out the gates when it rains through constant sort of min-till and other methods. It's also economics. A £20,000 drill is only one pass. There's a third less diesel used in all the whole operations. It's put a whole different mindset to me because I have to think about using cover crops for fertility. All the thatch that we grow is used locally. Very little of it does much more than a couple of 3 miles from the farm. Most of our work is close. We're doing more as the years go by for the Trust. Originally we were just a Golden Cap estate, but because of the product we grow and our link with the Trust, we are now doing a percentage of work at the Killerton estate. All my working life, it's given me the most pleasure to produce something and to see it right through to the end. And when it goes on to a historic building or a building that with a lot of character in, that is just that little bunsy, because it could end up on a traditional cottage or it could end up on somewhere like Woodsford Castle at Dorchester. I've got a good memory, so if I go 30 years back, I can tell people the field that their roof came from. And that gives me even more satisfaction to know that this is going to last 25, 30 years, fingers crossed, seeing something I've produced, been responsible for a whole year, finished all pristine and looking really nice, and doing a good job keeping the water out.